Assalamualaikum and welcome back to another episode of the Women in STEM series with Scientia magazine, and I'm your host Abeer. Today we're sitting down with someone you probably heard of in the past few weeks. Today's guest is Dr. Hamayl Afzal, Pakistan's youngest female to earn a PhD. Hamayl completed her undergrad in biochemistry from DePaul University and later completed her PhD on regeneration of organs from Duke University. I'm so happy to have you here.
Thank you so much, Abeer. It's absolutely a pleasure to be here as well. Thank you for inviting me.
Yep. So I'll be dividing this episode into three main parts, starting from how you began your journey in STEM, and then moving to the US at such a young age and the struggles that followed that transition, and then following on, how you decided to pursue a PhD, what that was like, and how it felt on becoming Pakistan's youngest female graduate.
Of course.
So, for my first question, how did you get into STEM? Like, tell me a little bit about your childhood because it's not every day that people decide, okay, let's focus on a goal and then ended up getting a PhD at 25.
There's a lot of things that we can talk about. But let me talk about like the initial thing that really like inspired me, and that was when my grandmother passed away from Hodgkin's lymphoma, which is like a cancer. So there's
Mm,
treatment available all over the world for that cancer, except for Pakistan. And that was
mm,
something that was really heartbreaking for me because it's not just about my grandmother. There are so many families out there who are suffering from different diseases and they can't receive those treatments, and we don't have the research to do that. So that was, I think, a very turning point for me to realize that I was interested in STEM.
yeah. I feel like those sort of moments make you realize like it would be amazing if Pakistan had its own research and was producing its own solutions instead of having to wait at the mercy of like other countries and stuff.
Exactly. And not even like producing your own research requires so much resources.
Yes.
Let's just let's just let's just be there where we have at least the basic treatments that are out there, right?
Mhm. Mm.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And you said that your mom's a doctor, which I find is pretty cool. So you saw her like manage like like taking care of you guys, but then also her career. So do you think that kind of had an impression on you early on?
Of course. That was something. So initially, when I was a child, I used to get irritated because of that. And I was not the easiest child. Okay. And I was
Yeah.
like, okay, you have to go for another patient, and we're just having dinner. And I used to be like a little troublesome in terms of that because I felt it. I was like, no, this is Eid, and we're in the hospital, and the nurses are putting henna on our hands. And I used to be that way. But then growing up made me really realize like she was the role model for me. Like I really looked up to her. And now that I think of it, she's working in her clinic and I'm working on my bench and we're actually like talking to each other. So it's just like the perfect combination where it's like,
Yeah,
you know, we both know that careers are there, but we also have like family to attend to. So it's kind of like, it's kind of nice. Yeah.
that's wonderful.
Mhm.
And it's like a non, so you just painted a picture of a completely like non-traditional childhood, like nurses are painting your henna and stuff. Was there stuff that your mom did to make you feel connected and loved and like interested in something?
Of course. So I was always in the hospitals. I remember after my
Wow.
A-levels exam, I was in the hospital. Before my grade 5 exams, I was in the hospital. So I think I grew up in a hospital, and that basically became the inspiration for me to now like apply for to like now pursue the physician scientist track as well. Because as much as I love research, I also think like the hospital is something that I also miss. And I feel like they both just go hand in hand. So yeah, my life has been an inspiration for me to pursue this track, I guess. So yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Mhm.
So starting off like in high school, was it then that you started thinking, okay, let me try to like go towards STEM and then specifically biology?
Yeah, it definitely. So I don't want to keep saying this, but again, Pakistan didn't have a lot of labs and stuff, and all we
Mm,
had was like the standard lab lessons, which honestly aren't that interesting.
mm,
So my interest started more of like when I started exploring things in undergrad here at DePaul,
mm,
and that's where when I started taking research classes and I started doing summer research, and then the grandmother
mm,
incident happened. That was the realizing moment me that
mm,
yeah, no, this is like where I exist because I can be in the lab all day, all night, and the next day as well because That's like my happy place. And I just forget everything that's happening in the world once I'm in the lab. So yeah,
Yeah. So you just followed like breadcrumbs
yeah.
because you went into biochemistry, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So how did that happen? Because there's like a lot that went on before that. So starting from like I believe that you probably did A levels, O levels.
Mm-hmm.
Like what were you like as an O level, A level student?
That period was my dad, I think. So So
Teamwork.
A-levels, I didn't know what subjects to pick, and it was just a calling from within. We was like, okay, let's just do chem, biophysics, and maths. That's it. Because that
Mhm.
was the only thing I knew, I guess.
Standard.
I
Yeah.
remember like taking an econ class during my undergrad, and I
Hmm.
was on my way to the classroom, and I just like dropped the class because I was like, no, this is scary. Okay, that was not
Oh,
the best example, but
okay. Yeah.
it was always an inner calling, and my dad. So I didn't want to apply abroad. I didn't want to come to the US. I didn't want to do
Mm.
my here. And my dad was like, "Hamayl, you should really apply." And I was like, I don't know. So then we went
Yeah.
to like the college counselors and stuff, and then they were like, "Oh my
Hmm.
God, give us like 20 lakhs, give us like 30 lakhs, the same standard thing that happens in Pakistan." I was like, "Bro, I'm not giving you that kind of money." And they were like, "Yeah, we think you're gonna get in." And I was like, "Okay,
Yeah.
I'll give it a try." So my dad sat down with me, and we were like selecting what sort of undergrad I want to do. And then my dad was
Hmm.
like, "Hamayl, I really think you like sciences." And I was like, "Yeah, I do like sciences. That's what I've been doing my entire life." Because I
Yeah.
mean, you see me growing up in the hospital around women, biology,
Hmm.
all that. So there was nothing else that I knew of as well. And I'm glad that I didn't know about anything because that just became my like. So I was like, let's do that. And he sat down with me and he applied for the
Hmm.
applications with me because I didn't, like, no one from my family has
Hmm.
ever applied abroad or is even in the US. So it was all of like it probably was destined or something. It just feels
Yeah.
that way. Because again, the way you said breadcrumbs,
Hmm.
some like I'd say God kept throwing breadcrumbs and I kept picking them up, and here we
Yeah.
are, I guess. So yeah. So that was the
I
journey.
I think what's also important is that you were noticing like little hints here and there and actually following up with them. Because I
Mhm.
feel like a lot of people get scared because
Mm,
they don't know what they want to pursue and they don't know how it's going to happen. And
mhm.
oftentimes they also don't have someone who can like guide them through it. So they
Exactly.
kind of just leave it to the last stage, just go on like hangouts and stuff, and just in the end, it's hard.
That's really true. That's really
Yeah.
true. I feel like guidance is really lacking
Hmm.
back home, and I genuinely feel that gap because a lot of
Yeah.
the people are stuck with counselors again, and I
Hmm.
feel sorry about that system as well, but also I'm trying my best to like give back to my own country and give back to the
Yeah.
society and all that. So yeah.
I saw what you're doing on LinkedIn. It's pretty cool.
Hmm. And a
Yeah.
lot of people actually are following up on that. And that's what
Hmm.
gives me the inspiration because I'm like,
Hmm.
even if there's like one person who's
Yeah.
getting any sort of benefit from this, I'm gonna hold myself accountable every weekend to keep doing that. Because
Inshallah.
people reach out, people really look up to those resources. And I'm so glad, Alhamdulillah, I'm so glad because
Mhm.
I think I'm serving the purpose that I was supposed to. And
Yeah.
inshallah, I'll keep serving more stuff as well. And
And it kind of
beautiful.
fills your heart, doesn't it? Because
Yeah,
you're also doing this on a weekend just to like inspire people who are listening.
it's hard. Abeer, it's
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm managing my lab, my work, my applications, and then like this LinkedIn stuff, and then and
Yeah.
then also like there's a lot of stigma in the society in Pakistan that we need to talk about that we haven't
Mm.
unpacked yet. We have not. The diseases, oh my God,
Yeah.
and the stigmas attached to those diseases. I just was like
Mm.
collaborating with an organization to make like a
Mm.
documentary on the Shane because
Oh,
we need
wow.
to destigmatize that stuff. People think
Mm.
it's a curse. People think it's the women's fault
Mm.
to destigmatize that stuff in
Yeah.
Pakistan. So,
So for people who don't know, like Humayla has been doing a lot of work, not only guiding people about her journey and how she applied and everything, but like you said right now that you're trying to like desensitize or like m make things that we should be talking about, but we aren't, trying to bring light to them.
mhm. Yeah, exactly. There's a
Yeah.
lot of organizations that reach out to me and they are working on
Hmm.
genetic disorders.
Hmm.
Um,
And are
and
these from Pakistan or just like all around the world?
they're all over the world. And I'm
Okay.
collaborating with them to
Hmm.
actually provide resources and try to like talk
Hmm.
more about the disorders because we need to talk about them. We need to
Yeah.
talk about how it's not someone's fault, and we need to talk
Hmm.
about the fact, especially it's not the women's fault.
Yeah.
So that is something that
How
is
can
really
you make it more easy for people to understand that? What are the steps that you think you would be taking?
hmm. First of all, again, as I mentioned, talking more about it, making it common among people to understand. And especially, I feel like there's a language barrier gap as well. A
Yep.
lot of the resources that exist are in English, and
Hmm.
we need things that are in the local language.
Hmm.
And again, AI is the best thing ever because I think we can use AI here, and I am using that to be able
Yeah.
to translate the resources into all the possible languages in
Hmm.
Pakistan so that we have them out there. And then again, working with all the nonprofit organizations. A lot of the organizations are not even registered because they don't even have the money, but they're still keep going. They're
Hmm.
still going.
Hmm.
So that is something. And let me tell you about the most rewarding part about this. Patients are reaching out and they're
Wow.
like, Hamayl, and it's small children are like voice messaging me and they're like, I really
Hmm.
hope you're able to like make this. And I really
Yeah.
hope you're able to like talk about this and you're able to
Yeah.
talk to the family about this. Because my dad is not here because I have this
Mm.
disease. And that was heartbreaking. Like
God.
that was the heaviest day for me to like hear that. So again, there's a lot we need to do. And I am
Yeah.
just trying and I feel like even if someone else
Hmm.
just join like gets inspired by this I
Yeah.
think that's good, right? Like we all help back home, so yeah.
Yeah. So I was introduced to this person who is making like the Calorist app, and he's also working on like making cancer care more empathetic. And I heard their stories and I heard what they've been through, and I was like, wow. So people who are going through cancer, but also their caretakers, nobody's given any sort of guidance.
Mm-hmm.
Nurses or doctors aren't given training on how to be empathetic without exhausting their own emotional, resources and everything. And just like being someone who's volunteering, you don't even have to be associated with anyone who's going through that disease. Even that
Mm-hmm.
takes a lot of courage because it's
It
just
does.
exhausting, it's rewarding, and
Mm-hmm.
it's beautiful, but it's not something that people take on as, a science
Mm-hmm.
social project or something.
I feel like we need to have that kind of internship opportunities in Pakistan
Yeah.
instead of like standard intern. Because see, we have like this role called hospice here in States
Hmm.
where like people actually like students actually sign up to help
Yeah.
terminal patients and
Mm.
be there for them. I think those are the kind of internships we need in Pakistan. Those are the kind of programs that I think we should
Hmm.
initiate in Pakistan
Yeah.
because that'll be like a different experience. And that's when students can also speak up on their resumes. Because I feel like there's like a standard set of things on the resumes as well. And
WWF.
exactly, that's
I
it.
heard your interview.
That's it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we need more diverse opportunities. People need to be more creative, I think. And it's easier for me to say while sitting here that, oh my God, you need to be creative, you need to be diverse. But I think even just talking about this is might give ideas to people. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You actually mentioned that you want to focus more on impact rather than following what people are doing blindly.
Hmm.
And then you also worked in a jail, volunteered in a prison.
Yep. Yep.
So tell me how
In
those
Pakistan.
two things connect.
Wait, I don't know. Like, I think I just end up doing really random things that like click,
Mhm.
and I want to like help people out there and I want to create an impact.
Yeah.
So I think, for instance, it was COVID, and I was like, well, we have all these hospitals and everything's like, we have hospitals for common people, and it was a chaos in Pakistan. So much so that my flight got canceled like 9 times from States to Pakistan. It was
Wow.
a chaos. I was not able to get back home, but then I finally did. And when I did, I stayed there for like a few months, and that's when I was like, well, first of all, it was so weird because in Pakistan, people were like, COVID, okay, let's go see COVID. So that was so fun. That was so fun. So there was lack of awareness again, but
Yeah.
I think the people out there had the opportunities to protect themselves.
Mm.
And then one of my housekeeper's brother died in jail actually during COVID. And I was like, Oh my God.
Hmm.
We are forgetting about the people inside the
Yeah.
jails and people who are stigmatized. And
Hmm.
again, I know everyone makes a mistake and there is a system for a reason.
Hmm.
However, believe me when I say this, that the people that I saw during COVID in the jail, that
Yeah.
just brought shivers down my spine. And I was like
Hmm.
almost about to cry when I was standing there. And that's when I started like collaborating with like a government hospital, starting like a mental health program over there. Because
Hmm.
Abeer, they really were overlooked. They
Yeah.
really were overlooked. And I know that people have done bad things, and
Hmm.
I respect the system for that. However,
Hmm.
dignity was being stripped off at that point.
Hmm.
So that was something that I really wanted to change at that point because I think medicine, research, science, it
Hmm.
all starts with like humility and empathy for everyone.
Yeah.
You can't judge people. So yeah.
How did you even like start like going there? And what was your mental health program like? Were you
Mm,
talking to people?
it was hard. My
Mm.
parents were not supporting it because they were like,
Understatement of the century.
exactly. My parents were like, "What are you up to? You think you've been in the States for like 3 years and you think you can change Pakistan and you can go to all these places?" And I was like, I just sat my dad down. I was like, Baba, you need to see what I'm doing. You can be there with me. So my dad was there with me all the time when I
Mm.
was there. Because of course, he
Yeah.
he 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 saw what I was doing, but also he couldn't like stop me because he was like empathetic towards
Mm.
it as well. So I raised money, first of all. Then I collaborated with few doctors because my
Mhm.
mom knew a couple of therapists and like psychiatrists and stuff. And then they were holding camps in the jail. And they were actually helping the people or like the incarcerated people review things or like, because COVID was terrible. They were all
Yeah.
isolated as well. So
Oh my God.
on top of that, there was not even enough space. So it's like
Mm.
in corners. You're supposed to be in corners and not like, you get what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
they were trying to
Yeah.
create their artificial kind of space.
Mm.
So then the doctors went there and then they were like trying to talk to people, the
Mm.
incarcerated people, and help them reflect and really reflect and look forward to life. Because
Mhm.
A, you're already in jail, you're away from your families.
Yes.
You're further isolated. At that point, I feel like a person starts losing their mental
Yeah.
health. They start losing their sanity. So that's when they started looking forward to things. And I'm not
Mhm.
sure because I don't want to like say big
Yeah.
things or like, oh my God, it changed the entire place or stuff like that. No,
Understandable.
people were still there, people stayed still there. But I hope it taught them some sort of like exercises which helped them get
Yeah.
over, like move forward or look forward to things. So that was
Mhm.
really impactful for me. And that was actually one of the life-changing moments for me. But other
Mhm.
than that, I've also like worked and volunteered in like rural areas of Pakistan where like
Mhm.
we have all sort of different stigmas and all that.
Yeah.
It's oh
Girl,
my
tell me about that. I need to
yeah.
know.
Wait.
What did you do there?
That's crazy. So when I was like, so again, I used to go to the rural areas of Pakistan with my mom because there's not enough
Wow.
doctors who are serving the rural
And
areas.
just for context, you were like 17, 18
I was
at this
actually
point.
14, 15, 16 at that point because I was in
Crazy.
Pakistan and I
What
was
what drove you? Like, did you have friends or did you have like your siblings or
not
something?
really, not really. So, actually, all of my siblings are really service oriented. I think this has been instilled in us more so
Mm.
from the very beginning, where we are
Mm.
not taught to like keep eating our food if the housekeeper is sitting in
Yeah.
front of us and watching you.
Mm.
That is something that we need to talk about. Is I don't know how many things do we
Yeah.
need to talk about, but like we've been, I think at least I'm empathetic enough to know that.
Hmm.
I need to keep an eye out for things that are happening
Yeah.
around me. And if I
And at
am
least do
privileged,
what you can.
exactly. And if I'm privileged, I need to make sure that I'm like taking care of people around me to the best of my extent.
Yeah.
Okay? Everyone's privileged in some sort of way. Everyone
Yeah.
is. So,
Mm.
yeah. So that was interesting because I still remember this sentence where this little girl was So I was trying to teach. My mom was actually doing the health camp and everything. And she's like, all right, Hamal, we need you to do something as well, because I can't just have you
Okay.
sit in my room on a stool and just watch. Okay. She's like, okay, create a pamphlet, go distribute it around. Okay.
Mm,
And then I was like, okay, what do I create it about? So I created a pamphlet about menstrual health. And I was like, why not? Because, girl, I was like, we need to create more awareness about that. I was like 15 at that point. It was
exactly.
like a taboo. I was like,
Mm,
I'm on my periods. So yeah, that was
yeah.
kind of like the idea at that point. So I made these pamphlets and I went around and
Mm,
I met little girls barefoot,
yeah.
literally barefoot, and that was like a very like an eye opener for me to see like this is what life looks like as well. I have these fancy shoes, but there are people who don't have shoes as well.
Yeah.
So I was distributing pamphlets and I was trying to like actually when my mom was in the clinic, I used to be sitting outside in the main hallway as well. Whichever patient showed up, I used to give them pamphlets and I was like, hey, let's talk about this and all that. So that
They
was
must
where
have
like
been so awkward.
I know, right? It
Like,
was
who's this lady who just came
I
out of
know.
nowhere?
Who's this child? Who's this stupid child like going around like giving pamphlets?
Oh gosh.
And talking about periods? Oh my God. Oh my God. And yeah,
Taboo.
that thing did come across. Like a bunch of men showed up and they were like, what are you doing with our women? Like, what are you trying to like, are you
Oh,
trying to like create chaos? I don't know how to say this, but this is what they literally said. They were like, you're trying to like ruin like the
mm,
femininity in our like village,
yeah.
stuff like that. And I was like, shit. I was scared. And then my mom showed up and
Mm,
she's like, oh, what's wrong about this? What's wrong
mm,
about this? And then that was the moment where it's like, yeah, I really learned how to have conversation. I really learned how to like
mm,
how to understand a point of view which is not the same as yours, because you
yeah.
have a really different point of view, and some people are justified with their point of views as well.
Mm,
Then we started talking to the eldest person in the village who
mm,
actually showed us the right way on how to actually promote this stuff through his wife. So that
mm,
was like a really like interesting moment for me as well, where like
mm,
she was like the elder of the house and women used to go
yeah.
and sit down around her and all that. So, and that's
Mm,
when she sat down with me and she was like, all right, let's like, and then we had like a lot of pharmaceutical companies that were also like sponsoring the free products. So we
mm,
distributed those as well. So
mm,
we used to go there on the weekends. So that's how
mm.
it used to work.
I think there's like two lessons that come out of this is that you need to learn early on how to hold your ground, how to like promote a message. But two, it goes to show that people who are actually there, talking to them and finding a way to promote something through them is much wiser sometimes than just bulldozing your way through
Exactly.
whatever like norm the village might have.
Exactly. Exactly. And we cannot expect people to understand our point of view because
Yeah,
everyone has their own point of view. And we need to learn how to respect everyone's point of view
yeah.
and go through the right channel to do things. And that was actually life changing, where like, so I mean, I'm glad I learned all of this throughout the way. So this is good. Yeah.
No, that's admirable. So your application didn't start when you and your dad sat down. It started like years earlier. So you've
Yes,
always been doing just like amazing social voluntary stuff and the stuff that actually makes an impact
I
rather
tried.
than it's just trying to put something on your CV.
Exactly. But I did do the WWF internship as well because there was a lot
Yeah.
of peer pressure. There was a lot of peer pressure in WWF.
I mean, I
This-
did that too, actually,
Right?
but it was very informative for me because we went to like villages and we tried to talk to people. And that's when I realized, wow, language barrier is an issue
Exactly.
because we sometimes mix English and Urdu. And so when
Mm-hmm.
you're supposed to like completely talk to someone in Urdu, that's when your brain starts glitching.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And also like and again, this is something that I've learned as well by observing that you do really need to slow down and
Yeah.
acknowledge the other person's point of view as well. And
Yes.
not just keep like I'd say keep saying things that you think are right and
Yeah.
yeah.
I think that comes from a place of I know what's right, so
Mm-hmm.
just like follow that.
Yeah,
And
and
that
you live with that point.
sometimes yeah, I think that's a mistake that people can make because you're walking into someone else's lifestyle, so you
Mm-hmm.
should respect that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I agree. I
Yeah.
completely agree.
So maybe let's talk about how you moved abroad and the fear involved in that. Maybe like because Pakistani woman, I'm pretty sure you've had this question before. But like we deal with a lot. We're not just moving abroad for studies. We deal with like relatives and then other fears and then moving there. How am I gonna manage when it's kind of been like you've kind of been pampered before that in every sort
Mm.
of way, and then suddenly when you're moving abroad and it's all like, wow.
Yeah, no, believe me when I say this, like I had never traveled abroad. I had never been
Mm,
on the plane
no
until
way.
exactly until I was like 18 and I was
Yeah.
like so as I mentioned earlier, I was not interested in going abroad and I just wanted to be, I think, a doctor in Pakistan. But then my dad was like, no, you should apply abroad. And he was like, come, let's like explore stuff. And then when I say this, it does sound fancy that, oh my God, okay, so when I say this, like it might sound a little fancy, like, oh my God, my dad was supporting me. But
Hmm.
what we need to really talk about more is that my relatives were not supporting me. They were not. And the goodbye really did not look like a cute goodbye at the airport. It was more of
Hmm.
like, yeah, I'm escaping. And my dad is
Hmm.
supporting that.
Oh
So let's
God.
just leave that there. But that's when I came to the States, and my dad literally made like a map of the airport. And he was like,
Oh,
Hamayl, this is where you're going to be dropping off your bags, and this is where you're going to
yeah.
be going through the security. This is what security looks like. This is what they're going to
Yeah.
ask. And that pep talk.
It's so
Anyway,
confusing, right? Like, how am I supposed to navigate all of this alone? What's like boarding? What's
alone.
like gates?
I landed in Chicago after
Mhm.
like, I don't know, a 35 to 40-hour journey because that was the most cheapest flight that was available at that point.
Oh my God.
So yeah. But anyways, I landed here and then I didn't know like this is what states
Hmm.
really look like. And I was trying to navigate everything because when I
Mm.
saw the like the move-in day, they actually had like parents dropping their
Yeah.
children off in the college, and I
Yeah.
was in my bed the entire time because I was like, oh, this is really life looks like. This is what a college drop-off day looks like. But then I was
Yeah.
thankful for the opportunity, and that's where it
Mhm.
started. Again,
Mhm.
I know this is there are things that way worse than this that a lot of the girls out there are facing.
Yep.
And I wish we can do something about that. And I really
Mhm.
hope one day we're actually able to like show the country that girls going abroad does not mean that they are gonna do something bad. It just means that they're gonna be like gaining excellence in education. Yeah,
Mm. And as a result, I think you end up giving so much more to the community.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's the thing. A lot of the girls reaching out to me are like, I hope my dad sees this so he knows
Mhm.
that like we can do so much when we're given
Yeah.
the opportunities. Yeah.
Yeah. And I hope parents support their kids, and I hope people who are looking at this
Mhm.
interview realize that so much is possible if you stand by your kid and support them.
Exactly. And actually, that's really important because if you're not supporting your kid, they're going to do things and they're not even
Hmm.
going to tell you about it.
Hmm.
Whereas if you are supporting them, you'll be their best friend. I used to call my mom all the time about my chaotic thoughts and what I'm thinking of doing and all that. And she was like,
Hmm.
all right, Hamal, let's talk about this. And
Hmm.
yeah, it almost seems like I didn't have to hide anything from my parents because I could
Hmm.
just go and tell them things.
So this is something that I find interesting is because so a lot of like people have this notion that people who, especially moms who work,
Hmm.
aren't able to emotionally connect with their kids because they don't have that much time. But your example is like the complete opposite.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah, it's always that she has like 10 to 15 minutes between the patients that she can talk to any of
Mm.
her children. And she
Yeah.
never lets that opportunity slide. So I'm always
Mm.
calling her and I know. So the
Yeah.
funniest thing is that whenever I call her and she's busy, she just sends me a message. Can't talk right now, talk to you later. And I have like a set of emojis, like the cat emojis, the
Yeah.
cat crying and all that. And I just send her like 20 emojis. I'm like, you don't want to
Mm.
talk to me and all that. And then she's like, all right. Then she asks her assistant, she's like, hold the patient. Let me talk to this child.
Oh,
My so
yeah.
I have my ways of emotionally blackmailing her, I think.
Okay. But seeing all of this is probably also leading you to establish a sense of norm that it is possible to have like a, family and everything and have a career. Like you aren't expected to sacrifice everything.
Abso freaking lutely. Yeah. Yes. My mom actually, so my dad is also really supportive. I think it goes both ways. They support
Mm-hmm.
each other. And I still remember when I was a child, my when my mom used to go to she actually got married during medical school. So when she was
Mm-hmm.
going for her classes, my dad was like waiting for her so she can get off. And when they had me, he used to take me with his site visits so my mom can be like in the
Wow.
hospital and all that. And he used to
Yeah.
tell me how much I used to cry and all that. Again, I was
Oh
like a little
no.
chaotic when I was a child.
Wait, so you're the eldest?
I am the eldest. So,
Okay.
yeah, but like he used to literally carry me to site visits so that my mom can be
Oh,
at the hospital. I still remember this one
yeah.
little story where they both had something to do and they did could not hire a nanny at that point because they did not have the financial resources.
Mm,
So they literally, so my mom had an exam and my dad had a really important meeting.
mm,
And they made me like sleep in the house. They like made sure they had the cameras and everything on so that
mm,
if I wake up, if anything happens, like they get notified.
yeah.
But they just made sure that I was sleeping and then they both went and did their things as soon as possible and they came back and I was still sleeping. I would highly not
Oh.
recommend doing this with your children. This does not mean you're supposed to leave your children back home, but this just
Yeah.
means that my both of my parents were trying to make their lives work and they did
Yeah.
not push each other to be like the
Mm,
better parent who could take care of the child.
wow.
Yeah,
I love
this is so
that.
funny.
I think we need to like normalize these stories because this stuff happens and it's only by being a team that you can like make life better for everybody.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And just not push the generic gender norms on each other.
Yeah. So now you're in DePaul. And I remember it being like 100% scholarship or something.
It
How did
was.
that happen, girl?
I just think I had those experiences to reflect
Yeah.
on, I guess. So
Mm.
that's how it happened. To be honest, I think it takes a lot and it starts
Yep.
from the very beginning. Again, non-generic things that you can actually reflect on. Colleges pick that and
Mm.
yeah.
I've noticed that some people actually have like huge amount of like work they've done,
Mm-hmm.
but sometimes they don't have the time or they aren't able to like sit down and process that information. And so it doesn't come across as strongly as it would have if they took that time.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
And that is the thing that I'm talking about now on my LinkedIn, how to
Mm.
actually reflect on things, how to actually phrase things. Believe me, I got hundreds of resumes and they had the things in them, but they were
Yeah.
not out there the way they should be, which is
Hmm.
why I'm like dropping resume templates, literally
Hmm.
copying and pasting my own resume research experiences and different
Hmm.
experiences so that people can actually see how to phrase things. So, yeah.
Mm. And people gatekeep, so you're just like giving it all away
I
openly.
don't want, like, I feel like that is really true. Like, people don't. So
Hmm.
again,
I think they're scared that there's
mhm,
limited opportunities, and if they
mhm,
give someone else, they might like lose an opportunity down the line.
exactly. And girl, I've been there where I've been trying to get guidance from people because I didn't know things as well. I still don't know things as well because I'm still trying to fill out my MD applications and I don't know
Yeah.
how things work. And people straight up say no, though, by the way. They're like, yikes, we might be busy or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And that hurts, but that's okay. Because if I learn something, I want to be a person who is not them, and I want to put
Mm.
things out there for people. So for
Yeah.
sure, yeah, there's no gatekeeping.
Mhm. For me, my Fulbright journey was like all because of my professor and then my senior, Nimra.
Oh, wow.
So I really believe like that them doing that led me to me being here.
Mm,
And when I like said thank you and stuff, they were like, no, just pass it forward.
mm. Yep. I
Yeah.
feel you. I feel you. It's always like the professors or the
Mhm.
mentors who actually helped you through it. Yeah,
Yeah. And the funny thing is, it's not about your English being perfect. It's about how you convey the information. And I feel like
absolutely.
people get that wrong and they stuff in so many good, like really high vocab words, and that's it. Yeah.
And it's the world has changed, by the way. Like I did
Yeah.
not have chat at that point. I did not have Claude at that point.
Hmm.
I can just really, really phrase things in a better way and use AI in the right way, the
Yeah.
way AI is supposed to be used. So I
Hmm.
think we need to keep using those resources in the right direction as well.
Hmm. Yep. Yep. Okay, so now you're in the US, you're living alone, and you're doing your undergrad. So what
Mhm.
was that journey like? Now you're like, there's nobody there to like push you or to monitor you. I mean, your parents had some sort of like positive influence, but like afterwards, how did you manage your undergrad? Were there times that were like really tough?
Mhm. Of course. Of course. I
And we
think
didn't talk about your PhD, so then after
mm,
that, like going into your PhD.
I think my entire time, like DePaul and Duke, they have been spent in labs, in classes. And I'm being very honest about this because I still remember there used to be a snowstorm in DePaul. So winter was really bad.
Mhm.
And then I was still like on my way to the lab because I need to split these cells. And I was like,
Oh.
Hamayl against the snowstorm. It was funny now that I think about it. I should have just,
Yeah,
like, I could have let those cells die and just replated them or
yeah.
just like waited it off. But I
Mhm.
don't know. I just loved the lab from the very beginning.
Yeah.
So, life in the States has been really hard. Again, I spoke about COVID when my flight got canceled. I didn't have anyone anywhere where I could stop or
Mhm.
like stay for like that time period. I've always hated Parents' Day weekends and I've
Oh.
always hated my birthdays because
Mm.
girl, it's not the same. Also,
Yeah.
Eid and all the special occasions, they're always in the lab. And I like it that way because I feel like that is
Mhm.
the most closest place to home that I have here. So it has
Mhm.
mostly been that way where I'm
Mhm.
trying to not feel that it's like
Yeah.
an important day, but I'm also like deep down really sad about it.
Yeah.
So, life as an international student is definitely hard. And with all the other, I feel like academic pressure and
Mm.
all the other pressures, I think it becomes a little hard. But I think at the end of the day, you just have to remember why you're here for and what you
Yeah.
want to do and stay connected with your family, I guess, or people who love you more. Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes what goes a long way is trying to make those days a little special for yourself in whatever way you can.
Mm, I haven't done that yet, but I'll definitely take your word for it. I'll try to do that.
Yes,
How do you do
me too.
that?
So initially, I thought about not doing anything, but then I realized it's like nobody's coming to save you, sort of thing. So you're gonna have
Yeah.
to make it special for yourself. So I try to like wear like special clothes or like make an
Mm,
effort to go to the mosque, even if I'm just going to like volunteer
mm,
or try to do stuff for like other people. So maybe like
gosh,
on Eid day two, I'll try to be like, oh, anybody who's around campus who doesn't have a plan, how about we do a potluck?
I love
And just
that.
like invite people. And it's been like 3 years since I've been doing that, and people start looking
Mm.
forward to it.
I like that. Wait,
Yeah.
I actually don't like if even if people invite me over on the special occasions, I avoid that because
Oh,
I'm like, no, I don't feel like it. So maybe I should
yeah.
start doing that because that'll be
Yes.
like, yeah, I got
Yeah.
you.
So this is like some advice that someone gave me is that when you move abroad, you will feel incredibly homesick. And at that
Mm,
time, especially like at these special events and stuff, you want to just like go into your little cave and not come out.
mm,
But it's in those moments where you have to force yourself. So like
mm.
I just like put that in my algorithm since then.
I feel you. That makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so is there something else that stood out for you in your undergrad journey?
That was pretty much it, I guess. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I'm not sure what your undergrad was like, but what I noticed as an undergrad student is that like summers and winters, we have them off. So people are just like chilling around. They're not really doing internships, but as like seeing undergrads here, they
Mm-hmm.
have something planned. Like they have this internship planned or they have this side project or this like group work they're working on.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like that really increases the gap between Pakistani undergrads and then an undergrad here or somewhere else.
Yeah, that does. I mean, there's always something that you can do during the summers, but
Hmm.
COVID hit for me during the first year of summer, so I wasn't able to do anything. I guess I was like
Fair.
trying to like go back to Pakistan because everything was shut down.
Yeah.
But then also like I did a lot of research during the
Mm.
summers and the winters. And I think that was pretty like
Hmm.
rewarding. And I was like working as a research tech, also like in another university as well during the
Yeah.
summers. So that's mostly how I like was spending my summers. Yeah.
Okay. So that's probably when you got like the hint that, oh my gosh, I think I like research.
Exactly. Exactly. It all started there. Yep. You
Yeah.
got it.
And immediately after undergrad, you went into PhD.
Yeah, so I applied for PhDs during my junior year. Technically,
Mm-hmm.
that was my sophomore year because I skipped one year.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I don't know which year that was. I don't know which year to.
Okay.
Anyways, it's
It doesn't matter.
halfway during my undergrad,
Okay.
I started applying for the PhD programs, and
Mm-hmm.
I applied like six or seven of them, and because I knew that I love research,
Mm-hmm.
um, and also I wanted to do the pre-med thing as well, so I was a pre-med during my undergrad. But the issue again was that international students, it's so my undergrad advisor told me that it's impossible for internationals to get into medicine in the States as well. And I know a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people still say that, but that was the reason why I was like, all right, I also love research. And I love
Mm-hmm.
medicine. So I started like applying for research PhD programs. And that's when I applied to like six or seven of them. And that was the response was pretty positive because I had worked in like a lot of labs during my undergrad. So I was able to speak for the experiences. And that was definitely a very exciting part of my life for sure, and a very stressful part as well. But yeah, so finally took this Duke offer because it was really nice. So much so that like they pay you really nice, and also I did not have to pay for my residence or my
Mm-hmm.
like food and stuff because I was also
Wow.
an assistant residence coordinator throughout my
Okay.
PhD. So I had my own apartment in Duke and they gave
Mm-hmm.
me 4 points and that was the best thing ever.
Wow.
And I was actually giving back to the Duke community because I was working with RAs. I don't, so an RA
Mm-hmm.
is basically a resident assistant
Mm-hmm.
who technically are there to support the undergrad community in Duke, and they also have this all across
Mm-hmm.
campuses. So I was an RA in DePaul as well, and one of the
Mm-hmm.
benefits is that they give you housing, they give you food and all that. So yeah,
Yeah.
that was really nice in terms of community building as well. So I did that during my entire time at Duke, and
Mm-hmm.
then yeah, PhD research. That was really exciting.
That's actually a question that I forgot to ask. Like, you said that you were on pre-med.
Mhm.
So I was like, your mom's a doctor, but you never ended up like thinking about going into medical field, or how did that happen?
Yeah, so again, it was my undergrad advisor.
Okay, okay.
Like, it's technically impossible, and I agree. Abir, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
It is really hard to get into the medical system in the States because a lot of the schools just don't take you. So
Mm.
now that I have like completed my PhD, I'm like applying to medical schools because I think I can at this
Um,
point, which is why I want to go down that physician scientist route. And this just did
okay.
not come from my mom. It
Yeah.
was more so like I was doing a very translational research,
Mm-hmm.
but there was always this gap where I could not understand what it really looks like in the body. I
Mm-hmm.
had samples, I had patient tissues on my bench,
Mm-hmm.
but I did not have that interaction with the patient. And that is the reason why
Mm-hmm.
I've been volunteering in hospitals throughout my PhD, because that was really important. That was really
Mm-hmm.
important. And I just felt like that gap in my
Yeah.
like there was this empty place in my heart and I wanted to connect that.
Mm-hmm.
So now this summer I'm applying for my MD programs and
Amazing.
all that. So
Amazing.
so that
Mm-hmm.
I can actually contribute to science and medicine because I think they are not separate fields. They go hand in hand. Yeah.
Yeah. What were the questions around this time? Because I'm pretty sure that people must have been like, oh, you just did 4 years of undergrad, now you're going to do 4 years of PhD, and now you're thinking about medical field. And that's unfortunate because I feel like knowledge is something you pursue throughout your lifetime.
Mhm.
But I think we kind of categorize it as, oh, now it's too much knowledge.
Here, it's never too much. It's
I
never too
know.
much. I feel so stupid when I'm in the lab because I think there's
Hmm.
so many things that I don't know about.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. I always sit down with my mentor. So I have a PhD mentor and then I also have another mentor.
Yeah.
Um, so his name, so first of all, my PhD mentor is like the best possible person existing on the planet of this earth because
Hmm.
he actually pushed me to be the person who I am today.
Mm.
But also, I also have this other mentor who's actually like a vascular surgeon. and he
Mm.
does science and he does surgery. And
Oh
I'm sitting
wow.
in his office and I'm like, all right, well, Dr. Sutherland, how does this like actually look like in the patient's leg? He's
Mm.
like, he drew like a diagram of the patient and he's like, Hamayl, this vein is blocked here, and this is why we had to amputate the leg. Okay.
Oh.
So I was like, yeah, I
Mm.
cannot learn this in the research paper. And I'm not trying to
Mm.
say that research is bad or people should not go for a PhD.
Yeah.
It's just that my goal is translational
Mm.
clinical practice and research,
Mm.
which is why I think I need those tools to be able to
Mm.
get there. So that was like the turning moment. In fact, my PhD inspired me to do that. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's
Just
an
you'll see.
important point to elaborate on is that you didn't just do it because your brain said, okay, let's just do this because it's a goal. You're picking things that align with what you want to do in the future. And you're kind
Exactly.
of tailoring your journey for that.
It's not for the sake of getting another degree. Oh my God, I should get another doctorate because one doctorate was not enough, you know.
Double
No,
D's.
it's what I want to do. I think, yeah, yeah, for the impact.
Mhm. Yeah. No, I love that. And you said that you also volunteered in hospitals along with a full-time PhD, and you completed in 4 years. Tell me about
Mm,
that. Like, how did you balance your timing and everything?
yeah. Actually, preparing for the medical school application was not an easy process. It
Mm-hmm.
was not. But again, I can reflect on my experiences from the very beginning that I've been
Mm-hmm.
into. But I definitely had to do a lot of clinical shadowing, a
Mm-hmm.
lot of volunteering, and I also had to, so I also am like connecting patients in Pakistan with international trials abroad.
Mm-hmm.
Because my grandmother didn't have the opportunity at that point. I was not able
Mm-hmm.
to do that, but I am doing that for other patients. So I connected
Mm-hmm.
this girl with pituitary tumor
Mm-hmm.
to a hospital in the States. And I'm doing that for similar other patients as well.
Okay.
Mm.
So just to like make it clear, your research is on
Mhm.
dystrophy, right? So you're working with these hospitals as a volunteer, and then you're connecting them to patients. So this is separate from your research.
Of course, of course. This
Okay.
was just like a personal, it was like a personal volunteer
Mhm.
thing where I'm definitely volunteering in the hospitals, shadowing physicians and
Yeah.
surgeons and all that. That's separate. But then I'm also like connecting patients in Pakistan
Hmm.
to clinical trials in the US and all over
Hmm.
the world, like Malaysia, because there's a lot of trials happening there as well now. So that is like a separate thing as well. And I think, I don't know, I don't take the weekends off, I think. I just work because I love to work. So
Yeah.
I think that
Because
gives
that's
me
your
an
passion,
escape.
side project or hustle, whatever you call it, but it gives you energy.
Exactly, exactly, exactly. And I
Yeah.
think the biggest limitation about life is that you're fighting against time, and one day only has like 24 hours, and that's the
Yeah.
saddest part. So I wish we had more hours in a day.
Yeah. For someone who's probably watching this, they're like, oh my gosh, I also want to do that, but like, how do I even start? Like, what kind of advice would you give them? Whether they're in Pakistan, whether they're here, I think wherever you are at, you can do something that's in
Hmm.
your capacity. But
Hmm.
how do you go from wanting to do it to actually being able to do it?
Yeah, for that, I think you really need to follow what your heart says.
Mm-hmm.
If your heart, so for instance, I've been thinking, okay, yeah. Anyways, I'd say we need to do what our heart says. Don't think about what the society is gonna say, because
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure a lot of the people out there are gonna be saying, wow, she's just trying to be like, I don't know, whatever, by putting all these resources out there. But
Yeah.
I try not to let myself be judged
Mm-hmm.
by other people. That's okay. That's everyone's opinion. I try to do whatever my heart says. So, for instance, if I was like a 15-year-old girl again and I was to start this journey over, I would say start by being empathetic and actually look out for the people around you. That's really important because it all starts with one simple step of empathy and humility, even if that's just being empathetic towards your own housekeeper
Mm-hmm.
back home. That's
Yeah.
it. And you can always reflect on that, I'm sure, in a lot of, and it's not just for the sake of applications that you want to do this. It's
Mm-hmm.
more so that you genuinely want to do something. And again, my route was more of like, medical advocacy or research. And this route can be really different from what you're interested in. So someone can be really interested in computer science and AI, and they can build apps for the betterment of people. I think they can definitely integrate AI into health. And
Yeah.
they can actually give back to the society in ways that I can never think of. So
Mhm.
just don't forget where you come from and don't forget your own community and just
Yeah.
do what your heart says. Don't try to
Mhm.
follow that same script that people are asking you to.
And I think a trend that I noticed is that from like age 14,
Mhm.
you were doing so much work. So
Mhm.
you never let like age define what you're capable of. Like, oh my gosh, that's like, oh my gosh, I'm too young to do that. Or, oh, that's not something that I should be worrying about. I'm just gonna go play or something.
Abeer, believe me when I say this, that my advisor keeps saying this thing to me every time I meet him, like my PhD advisor.
Yeah.
Hamayl, you're so young. You don't have to worry about this. And I'm like, but I'm gonna worry about this. I need to do this. So like, it's like a different experience because people
Mhm.
around me were actually old and have children, and they're way more smart. They're
Mhm.
way more smart than I am. So I've
Mhm.
always felt like I was the dumbest person in the room, and I still
Oh,
feel that way because
yeah.
we gotta keep learning.
Mhm.
So yeah,
But you
never
know that's a sign that you're learning because if you're the smartest person in the room, you don't have a lot to learn from that room.
exactly.
Yeah.
Said it.
One more question.
Hmm.
And I'm not sure whether this is like as a female
Hmm.
or coming from a developing country, but sometimes we're way too afraid to dream big or like have like giant goals that like scare
Hmm.
you to your core or like even being, for example, like you putting your stuff out there on LinkedIn and thinking about what people might say. Like even doing things like that, but you're scared to do that. So how do you get over it? And do you ever face those same concerns?
Of course, I overthink. I overthink about things a lot. Your girl's an overthinker. But anyways, don't let others stop from dreaming big. I've always been a very, very, very ambitious person. And I
Mm,
feel like nothing can stop you if you really want to do something. So if you yourself are scared about something, then you're definitely going to weigh people's opinion in, and that is going to stop you. But if
mm,
you yourself are not worried about things, nothing can stop you.
mm. But how
It,
do you get to that point? How do you not worry about things? You have so many variables that are completely out of your control.
I don't know. I genuinely don't know.
Mm,
I don't care. I
mm.
genuinely don't care. I mean, there was
Is
a
it
lot of hate.
focusing on the impact rather
Ex
than
exactly.
possibly stopping it because of the fear?
Exactly. I think there was a lot of hate that came in with all the news as well. But I
Wow.
never cared about it because I think there was equally, like, I was
Hmm.
also giving back to the society, and a lot of the people were actually looking up
Yeah.
for more guidance as well. So I think that just kept me going. And again, the way
Hmm.
you said it, it was more about the impact rather
Yeah.
than people's opinion. Yeah.
Okay, so when did you like wake up and you received the message, hey, I think you're the youngest PhD graduate
My
from like
LinkedIn and
that.
Instagram got locked out, and that's how I knew what happened.
Wait, what? Oh
My
my God.
Instagram and LinkedIn got
Yeah.
locked out, and that's
No
how I knew that something had
way.
happened because I was like, bro.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
yeah, yeah.
So out of the blue, just like that?
They got logged out. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
How was the
have
whole
my
transition? Like,
notifications
I'm
turned
sure
off.
it's just been like a month
Uh-huh.
since all of that
So
happened.
exactly. I mean, I remember like I generally like keep my notifications off for
Hmm.
all of my social media because that just
Hmm.
keeps distracting me.
Yeah.
I love to make science videos. I love
Hmm.
that. And I still do on my Instagram.
Hmm.
I love to normalize therapies that we don't know about on
Yep.
science, which is why I also wrote like three children's book about science and I
Oh,
published them as well so that we can
yeah.
talk about science in
Hmm.
simple words. So
Hmm.
the idea here is that as much as I love social media, I also don't like social
Yeah.
media to keep pinging, so I have my phone like turn off notifications.
Hmm.
So when I opened my phone, it was like, you're being signed out. I was like, yeah, that's how it started.
Okay. And
Yeah.
then what happened?
And then I was like, I was work, so I stayed in my bed for 2 days because I was locked out. I thought I lost my Instagram because I had really spent a lot of time working on it
Mm,
for all the educational content, for all the science content, and I was working
mm.
with Meta for 2 straight days to let me back into my account. I was working with LinkedIn um, to do the facial verification to let me back in. And then when I
Oh,
finally got them back, I was like,
yeah.
this is great. This is a good opportunity for me to like actually show
Uh-huh.
the world that women out there are doing great things and
Yeah.
all the other Pakistani girls are gonna do much, much, much better than what I did. That was it. So yeah.
But like, I don't understand why you were locked out in the first place.
Because of how much comments and how much tagging was like done.
Oh,
Yeah, that is why. Because I don't know,
yeah.
very random pages like were like tagging me, and my
Uh-huh.
face was changed in a lot of them. Like I won't recognize myself as well.
Oh.
So it was all AI. Anyways, and they
Mm.
were tagging me, and then people were commenting, and people were actually sending DMs. So
That's
I don't know how many
crazy.
DMs, which is
Yeah.
why they locked me out. And they were like,
Yeah.
suspicious activity, your account got hacked. And I was like, bro,
Chill.
yeah.
And you came on like some news platforms too and stuff.
Of course. I mean, I had like 4 straight days where like Pakistani news channels were like trying to, and also international, but they were trying to like
Wow.
ask more about. So I think it was a great opportunity for me to like reflect on my journey and put the message out there on how
Yeah.
girls leaving abroad can actually do wonders as well. I mean, this
Mhm.
was not anything big, but I do think that there's gonna, because girls texted me and they were like, I am gonna do this at 23. And I was like, you go,
Oh,
girl, you go. So that's like the
exactly.
best thing ever. And I was literally like talking to someone.
Mhm.
I try, but I'm also like a single person and I can only
Yeah.
do as much as I can while keeping my
Mhm.
research going. And because my research is also going towards clinical trials,
Yeah.
inshallah. So I'm trying to like
Intro.
focus on that. But um, I try to like talk to girls, especially when they're like, tell me if I can take this major and still do neuroscience. And I'm like,
Mhm.
yes, do it.
You mentioned that there were also like negative aspects of this.
Of course. Of course.
What was
Of course.
that like?
I don't know. It was, I think, I literally did not focus on that a lot, but
Mhm.
I think a lot of the people were like, no, this is not possible or something like that. And some people were like, no, that's fake. And I was like, yeah, I'm fake. I don't exist. So it was more of like an
Oh
eye
gosh.
opener for me that, oh my God, I exist and people think I don't exist. So it's kind of that, yeah.
Sometimes I think that because people are behind a screen, they
Mm,
imagine that the other person is not really a person.
exactly. And not
Yeah.
a human. So they can say
Mm.
whatever they want to say, I guess. But
Yeah.
yeah.
That's amazing. Do you have any last thing that you want to talk about that we didn't talk about through this interview?
Hmm. I think we touched on all of the major things, but there's just one
Yeah.
thing I'd like to say since I do have the
Mhm.
platform. Just don't forget your own country. Make sure that
Mhm.
you do like that country raised you. And
Mhm.
there's a lot of negatives that exist,
Yeah.
but we can be the ones who can bring the positive changes as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that's what we need. Like everybody making some sort of change, and then that change accumulates.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's it.
People want to connect with you or help you with something or like volunteer with maybe like some initiative you have or something.
Of course, I'm always active on my LinkedIn and my Instagram. In fact, I'm actually going to be hiring people to like make documentaries and talking more about rare genetic disorders and that kind of stuff
Hmm.
for Pakistan because I feel like we don't
Hmm.
even have a genomic testing center like a government one. And now I'm trying to work on that because we
Yep.
need to have genetic sampling done in Pakistan because doctors still send samples abroad. So
Hmm.
LinkedIn, Instagram, I'm really, really responding to like the professional message.
Uh-huh. I will add that down in the description below, so definitely connect with Dr. Hamayl. So
Thank you.
I think that was about it. And thank you so much for taking time out. That was Dr. Hamayl, the youngest PhD graduate from Pakistan. And she had an amazing story, an amazing amount of motivation, and I'm really looking forward to what you do next.
Thank you so much. It was an absolute pleasure talking to you. Thank you